Max Harrison loosened his tie as he stepped into the elevator of the luxury apartment building in downtown Manhattan. It was past 11 at night, and all he wanted was a glass of scotch and his bed. The board meeting had run 4 hours over, followed by conference calls with Tokyo and London. Being CEO of Harrison Tech meant days that bled into nights that bled into mornings. The elevator dinged on the 23rd floor. His floor. Silence greeted him as he walked down the carpeted hallway, the kind of silence money bought in buildings like this. Soundproofed walls, wealthy neighbors who traveled constantly, perfect anonymity. He was fishing for his keys when he heard it. A small voice muffled through a door. "Please, can someone help?" Max froze. The voice was coming from 23B, the apartment next to his. He'd lived here for 3 years and had never met his neighbors, never even seen them. That was how he liked it. Work was complicated enough without personal entanglements. But that voice, it was a child, a little girl by the sound of it. "Hello?" Max knocked on the door of 23B. "Is everything okay?" Silence. Then shuffling. Then the voice again, closer now, right on the other side of the door. "Are you the CEO man? The one who lives next door?" Max blinked. "Yes, I'm Max Harrison. What's wrong?" "Mommy's scared. Our door is broken. Bad men came and broke the lock. They said they'll come back. Can you fix it, please?" Max's pulse quickened. He looked at the door more carefully. The frame was splintered around the lock, which hung loose. Someone had forced it open. "Sweetheart, what's your name?" "Emma, I'm 7. "Emma, is your mom there?" "Yes, but she's crying. She told me to hide in my room, but I heard you in the hallway. Mommy says you're important because you wear suits and work all the time." Despite the situation, Max almost smiled. "Can you get your mom for me?" More shuffling, muffled voices, then a woman's voice, thick with tears and exhaustion. "I'm sorry, Mr. Harrison. Emma shouldn't have bothered you. We're fine. Please, just go home. Your door is broken and someone threatened to come back. You're not fine." Max kept his voice calm, authoritative, the same tone he used to command boardrooms. "Open the door. Let me help." I don't, the woman's voice broke. "I can't trust anyone right now." "Mom!" Emma's voice insistent. "He looks nice. He has kind eyes." Max hadn't been called nice in about 15 years. Ruthless, brilliant, cold, those were the usual descriptors. But kind? That was new. "Please," he said quietly. "I promise I'm not here to hurt you. I just want to make sure you're safe." A long pause. Then the sound of a chain sliding free. The damaged door opened 6 inches, revealing a woman in her early 30s with red-rimmed eyes and dark hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. Behind her, a little girl with the same dark hair peered out, big brown eyes studying him carefully. "I'm sorry," the woman said again. "I'm Sarah Mitchell. This is Emma. I'm sorry." "Stop apologizing," Max said gently. "What happened?" Sarah's hands trembled as she pushed the hair from her face. "My ex-husband, well, soon-to-be ex, he's not taking the divorce well. He came here tonight with 2 of his friends, broke the lock, said if I didn't drop the divorce proceedings, he'd make sure I lost Emma." Max's jaw tightened. "Did you call the police?" "I did. They came, took a report. But David, my ex, he left before they arrived. They said they'd patrol the area, but they can't station someone here. And the building security..." She laughed bitterly. "They didn't even notice him breaking in." "The building security is a joke," Max agreed. He'd complained about it to the board multiple times. "Look, I can't fix your door tonight, but I can make sure you're safe. Pack some things. You and Emma are staying with me until morning." Sarah's eyes widened. "What? No, I can't. We can't impose." "You're not imposing. You're being practical." Max pulled out his phone. "I'm calling my head of security right now. He'll have someone here within the hour to guard your door until we can get it properly fixed. But I'm not leaving you 2 alone in an apartment with a broken lock when someone threatened to come back." "But we don't know you." "Mommy?" Emma tugged on her mother's sleeve. "He has kind eyes. Remember? You told me to trust people with kind eyes." Sarah looked from her daughter to Max, tears spilling down her cheeks again. She was clearly exhausted, terrified, at the end of her rope. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay, thank you." 30 minutes later, Emma was tucked into Max's guest bedroom, which she'd announced with delight was bigger than her whole bedroom at home. Sarah sat in Max's living room, holding a cup of tea he'd made, still looking like she might bolt at any second. "The security team is posted outside your door," Max said, sitting across from her in an armchair. "They'll stay until morning. Tomorrow, I'll have the door replaced with something actually secure, and I'll be having words with building management about their incompetence." "I can't afford a new door," Sarah said quietly. "I can barely afford rent here. We moved in 3 months ago after David. After things got bad. I thought a nice building would be safer, but the rent is eating through my savings." "You're not paying for the door, I am." "Mr. Harrison, Max. And before you argue, understand that I'm not doing this out of charity. I'm doing it because I live next door to you, and if someone is breaking into your apartment, that's a security risk for me, too." It was a lie, but a useful one. He could see she was the type who wouldn't accept help if she thought it was pity. Sarah managed a weak smile. "Thank you. I don't know what we would have done if you hadn't heard Emma." "She's a brave kid." "She's had to be." Sarah's hands tightened around the mug. David wasn't always like this. When we met, he was charming, successful, everything I thought I wanted. But after Emma was born, he changed. The drinking got worse, the anger. I tried to leave 2 years ago, but he found us, convinced me to come back, promised he'd change. "They always do." Sarah looked up sharply. "You sound like you speak from experience." "My mother," Max said quietly. He rarely talked about this. Never, actually. But something about this woman and her daughter cracked something open in him. "My father was the same. Charming in public, a monster at home. It took her 3 tries to finally leave him. By then I was 16 and big enough to make sure he never touched her again." "What happened?" "I built a company, made more money than he ever dreamed of, made sure my mother never had to worry about money again, and I made damn sure he knew he had no power over us anymore." Max took a sip of his own drink. Scotch, finally. The best revenge is success they can never touch. Sarah was quiet for a long moment. "Is that why you work so much? The suits, the late nights? Emma's noticed, by the way. She waves at you sometimes in the morning when you're leaving for work. You've never noticed." Max felt something uncomfortable twist in his chest. "I didn't know you had a child. I didn't know you existed. We're very quiet. I work from home as a freelance graphic designer. Emma's homeschooled because David knows where all the local schools are. It's safer this way." She set down the mug. "We're pretty isolated. You're the first person who's spoken to us in weeks besides delivery drivers." "That changes tomorrow," Max said firmly. "I'm putting you in touch with my attorney. Best divorce lawyer in New York. She'll handle your case pro bono. Don't argue. She owes me a favor. I'm also going to make sure building security actually does their job. And if your ex shows up again, he'll find out what happens when you threaten someone under my protection." "Why are you doing this?" Sarah's voice was barely a whisper. "You don't know us. We're nothing to you." Max met her eyes. "Emma asked me to fix your door. In my experience, when a 7-year-old is brave enough to ask for help, an adult should be brave enough to give it." The next morning, Max was up at 5 as usual. He found Emma in his kitchen, sitting at the counter, swinging her feet and studying his coffee maker like it was a puzzle. "Good morning," he said. "Good morning, Mr. CEO." She gave him a gap-toothed smile. "Can you make chocolate milk?" "I think so." Max opened his rarely used refrigerator. He'd ordered groceries delivered at 6 a.m., including chocolate syrup, cereal, and everything else he could think of that a child might need. "Your mom still sleeping?" "Yeah. She didn't sleep for 2 days. She was too scared. Emma accepted the chocolate milk with both hands. Are you really going to fix our door? I am. A whole new door? A good one? And the bad men won't come back? Not if I can help it. Emma studied him with those serious brown eyes. You're nice. Even though you look scary in your suits. Max couldn't help but laugh. I look scary? A little. But Mommy says scary-looking people can be the kindest. She was right. Emma took a drink, leaving herself a chocolate milk mustache. Will you be our friend now? We don't have many friends. Something cracked wider in Max's chest. Yeah, kid, I'll be your friend. True to his word, Max had a new security door installed by noon. He also had the building security company replaced by evening. When the CEO of the largest tech company in the building makes demands, things happen fast. He connected Sarah with his attorney, Rebecca Chen, who took one look at the case and immediately filed for an emergency restraining order against David. She also began proceedings to fast-track the divorce. Your ex is an idiot, Rebecca told Sarah over the phone while Max listened. He left a paper trail a mile wide. Threatening texts, emails, witnesses to his break-in. I'll have this wrapped up in 60 days. He won't get near you or Emma again. Max also did something he'd never done before. He cut his workday short. At 6 p.m., he knocked on apartment 23B, which now had a door that could probably withstand a small explosion. Sarah opened it, looking more rested than the night before. Behind her, Emma was drawing at the kitchen table. I brought dinner, Max said, holding up bags from the Italian place on the corner. I figured you might not feel like cooking. Mr. Harrison, you've already done so much. Max and Emma invited me. Didn't you, Emma? The little girl bounded over. I did. I told Mommy you should eat with us because you eat alone too much. Mommy says eating alone is sad. Sarah flushed. Emma, that's not... Max laughed. A real laugh, something he couldn't remember doing in months. She's right. I do eat alone too much. May I? They ate together. Emma chattered about everything and nothing. Her drawings, a book she was reading, questions about what a CEO actually did. Do you get to tell everyone what to do, even the president? Sarah was quieter, but Max noticed she smiled more. The fear from last night had receded, replaced by something softer. Relief, maybe, or hope. Thank you, she said as Max was leaving, for everything. I don't know how to repay you. You don't need to. Max paused at the door. But Emma mentioned you work from home. If you ever need a quiet place to work, my apartment is empty all day. You're welcome to use it. I couldn't. You could. I have a home office I never use. Huge desk, good lighting, better internet than probably anywhere else in the building. Think about it. Over the next few weeks, Sarah did start working from Max's apartment occasionally. It was practical. Her own apartment was small, and Emma could spread out with her books and art supplies in Max's spacious living room while Sarah worked. Max found himself cutting his workday shorter and shorter. 6 p.m. became 5:30, became 5. He told himself it was just to check in, make sure they were okay, see if they needed anything. But the truth was, he liked coming home to voices, to Emma's laugh, to Sarah's quiet presence. His apartment had always been a sterile box, expensive furniture he'd never chosen himself, art he'd never really looked at, space he'd never filled. Now there were Emma's drawings on his refrigerator, Sarah's favorite tea in his cupboard, laughter and conversation and something that felt dangerously like family. You're changing, his COO remarked one day. Leaving early? Smiling at people? Actually eating lunch? Should I be worried? I'm fine, Max said. But he knew it was true. He was changing. The walls he'd built over decades, the ones that made him a brilliant, ruthless CEO, were developing cracks. And he wasn't sure he wanted to repair them. 2 months after the night Emma knocked on his door, David made his final mistake. He showed up at the building, drunk and belligerent, demanding to see Sarah. He got as far as the lobby before Max's security team had him restrained. Max, who happened to be in the building's gym, arrived in time to watch David being escorted out in handcuffs. You can't keep me from my wife, David shouted. I have rights. You have a restraining order, Max said coldly, which you just violated. You also have a court date next week where you'll be signing divorce papers and giving up all custody rights. My attorneys made sure of that. David's eyes widened as he recognized Max. Wait, you're the guy from the news. Harrison Tech. What the hell do you have to do with my family? They're not your family anymore. Max's voice was ice. And if you ever come near them again, I will dedicate every resource I have to making sure you regret it. I buy companies for breakfast. Imagine what I can do to one pathetic man. David paled. Max watched as the police took him away, then went upstairs to find Sarah and Emma.